Hello guys, welcome, or if you've been here before, of course, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for clicking on my video. Today I wanted to rank all of the creator collaborations in my collection. I have quite the little stack here and I wanted to go through them, talk about the palettes, their merits, what I love about them, what I love less about them. I got this video from Rachel Palmieri and I'll link her information down below in the description box. And if you've never been here before, hello, my name is Rachel. I'm a homeschooling stay-at-home mom and I really like eyeshadow. I upload several videos every week. It's all eyeshadow related content. I do hope that you'll consider liking and subscribing before you go. And now let's get going with this. All right, I'm starting at the bottom because that's the fun way to do it. I don't actually know how many palettes, you know what's somewhere in here. I don't actually know how many palettes I have here because I didn't count them. But I'm going to put in the screen as we go. It's the magic of editing, so I'm not sure why I told you that anyway. First, I'm going to start with the Michaela palette from Glamlight. I used this palette a good deal. This is their first collaboration with Michaela. I think it's my first purchase from Glamlight. I like the palette. I did an entire week of uploads using only this palette. I have a week of playlist on my channel where I dedicate a whole week to just one palette. I've got lots of videos in that playlist. I'll link it here if you're curious. Anyway, I did a whole week of uploads with the Michaela palette and I thought the looks were really beautiful. I have some qualms with this palette. 2 rows of warm toned neutrals, really, and then 3 rows of cool tone colors. There's a bit of a disparity there. Also, I think there are 7 purples in here. I get it, Michaela, you like purple. Purple's pretty, but they could have rounded out the color story a bit more. Some more blues, some more cool toned neutrals. And I can't believe I said that, but it's a nice palette. It is a little bit too big for my preferences. And as time goes by, I have learned that the Glamlight shimmer formula just isn't my favorite. It's amazing. This swatches beautifully. It's a very, very nice formula. But my own personal eyeshadow preferences they've become more honed. And I just feel that the Glamlight shimmer formula is a little bit thicker and heavier than I personally like, so that's why this is going at the bottom of the list. Next, I have a palette that truly pains me to put this low, but I have to be real with myself. And if I were to rank these at a different time, maybe I would put them in different places, but I don't think that the ranking would change too much. Here's Flora Story from Oden's Eye. I almost said ColourPop. Flora Story from Oden's Eye. This was their collaboration with Amanda from Makeup Just for Fun and is part of their second iteration of the legendary Diverso series. This is a very, very, very pretty palette. It truly is beautiful. I love the purple and green color story. I love the formula of Oden's Eye. I love the packaging. I love everything about Oden's Eye. I think this color story is beautiful. I really, really enjoy several of these shades, but I have to rank these palettes as far as what I feel about them. Do I use them? Do I love the color story? Do I love the packaging, the formula? How much joy does it bring? Does it fill a gap in my collection? I don't get excited about this palette. I feel kind of bad saying that, but it's the truth. I think it's lovely. I think it's probably an amazing palette for so many people, but for myself, my undertones, my preferences, some of the shadows look a little bit dusty. It's not a color story which really inspires me. I shouldn't have bought it. It's beautiful, but it's not really getting used in my collection. I did actually use it. I did use this palette for today's look. This look is linked down below if you're curious. I'm pretty much using every palette in my collection for a specific theme video, so check that out if you're curious. I did use this today. This is the shimmer that you see on my lid space, but that's kind of the standout shimmer. I don't know. It has to fall where it has to fall. And with its sister, we have the Michaela Pot 2 palette. Same reasons as mentioned before. All the same reasons except for the neutral side. This is clearly green, purple, blue. I love green, purple, and blue. I think that this is still too big. 1 or 2 of these shades are a bit redundant. Like, they're close. They're just too close. I like these 2 rows up here. The shimmers are quite lovely. And it's a fun palette, but back to the formula, to the redundancy, and to the fact that I have other green, purple, blue sorts of color stories in my collection, which honestly they just inspire me more. So this one is good. I do like this better than the other Michaela. If they had launched this one first, I never would have gotten the first one. It's good. It's just not great for me. Oh, ColourPop. Okay, ColourPop does a great job with their collabs. They really do. But at the end of the day, for me, it's still just ColourPop. I started with ColourPop. I thought that they were the bee's knees until I discovered some other indie brands. BH Cosmetics, Glamlight, Blend Bunny, Oden's Eye. I love Oden's Eye. I don't know. It's just, Here's the At First Sight palette. When ColourPop collaborated with Raw Beauty Christie, I absolutely adore everything about this palette except the formula. I think the color story is amazing, the packaging is amazing, the name, it's so cute, the theming, the details, everything's beautiful. The color story itself is beautiful. I wish it had maybe one or two lighter tones. I like that it's matte heavy, I like the shimmer options. It's great. It's great. But recently when I've been using ColourPop, I have consistently been disappointed in the formula overall. There is too much inconsistency in ColourPop's manufacturing results, honestly. You might get a ColourPop palette that is fantastic. You might get a ColourPop palette that is a total dud. Sometimes you get certain shades that are great, and then other shades in the palette are a waste of money, and it's just frustrating. Like, what am I gonna get if I open my wallet for this brand? Am I going to get something I love, holy grail, or is it just going to be a letdown? Now, recently I saw on Instagram, Pigments of the Arcane did 4 looks with this palette, and all of her looks were so beautiful. So I think I'm going to try to recreate her looks and get inspired, see if I can get this palette exciting me again. But it has to rank where it is because I just don't reach for it that much, and when I do, it's a little bit of a letdown. Another of the legendary Diversa trio, second time through, is the Planet Spirit palette when Oden's Eye collaborated with Betty Jean, or Batty Bean. This palette makes me think of a circus tent. It's so vibrant and saturated. It's so bright. I do wish that maybe 1 or 2 of the actual colors were not in here, and instead we had depth, variety in pastel and really deep with the colors that were left over. But it's really pretty. This for me is pretty much a companion palette. It's very unlikely that I'll do a one look with just these colors. I really, really enjoy all of these colors. They're fun to play with. They're fun to pair with something else. It's ranking where it is because for me, this is not a complete palette. I've considered getting rid of this one, but each time I look at it, I go, but it's so fun and I'd like to play with it more. So it's safe for a while, and I do look forward to playing with it more. Again, maybe pairing it with something else, getting the kind of drama that I have here with lots of depth and then lightness. You can easily do that if you bring in something else. But this is nice. It's nice. I can't believe that I'm ranking this next ColourPop palette higher than an Oden's Eye palette. Oden's Eye is my all-time favorite for everything, but I have to place Through My Eyes with I Love Sarahi higher than that Oden's Eye palette because this one is more complete. We do have the lightness and we do have the depth. We have a couple inner corner colors, some lighter shimmers, some darker tones. I used this one right here on my eyes today as well. This is a more well-rounded palette overall, and it's a good formula. Honestly, when I used this Divina shade in my outer corner today, I was quite shocked because it behaved like a better brand, like a higher quality formula than what I'm used to from ColourPop. So this is a pretty old palette. This is like 3 or 4 years old at this point, and it's still performing better than a lot of ColourPop's newest releases. Come on, that's a problem, right? So I like this palette. I like it a lot. I like the color story. I think it's very unique with the rose, teal, bronze color story. That's different and it's good quality. I love this shade up here. This one's beautiful. I've got, if you want to go a little bit spicier, you can go here with these vibrant teals. It's a good palette, and this one's more well-rounded, a bit more balanced than the Planet Spirit. I might like Oden's Eye overall better, but this one has to rank higher because I could take this traveling and get a complete look, neutral or colorful. Do you know what I mean? Now I'm going to talk about a bundle of singles that I recently got. I'm not sure that I can fairly rank this in today's video because I have only used it once or twice, but it does work for today's video. This is the In Mel's Memory bundle from Sydney Grace. This is very, very new. I've only used it a couple times, like I said, but I know the Sydney Grace formula, and this palette, again, is quite well balanced. Lightness, depth in the mattes and the shimmers, inner corner highlights, brow bone. You could use this dark one as like a liner if you wanted to. It's dark enough for that. I do very much like this sage and dusty rose color story. This is nice. I really look forward to playing with it more. I think it's going to be a good time. I think that this is going to age well with me because it's such high quality. It'll work very flatteringly on mature skin, as if my crease starts to deepen or I get some wrinkles or whatever. It's just, this is a soft, lovely, lovely, lovely formula. So I'm going to put this where it is probably because of the formula over the ColourPop below it. Oden's Eye makes another appearance, much higher this time. Here is Hummingbird from the original legendary Diversa. This is when they collaborated with Tina from the Fancy Face. Here's the Hummingbird palette. These colors are so stunning and the formula is amazing. I think this palette is a great deal of fun. I really enjoy playing with it. I recently dipped into it again it was just as good as ever before. The tones themselves are not as unique to my collection as they were when I first got it, because my collection is larger now, even with Oden's Eye, but this is still great. I do wish that there were a lighter matte that worked with these two here, because we have deep purple, deep blue, and a light blue, so they can work together, and then you can put on whatever shimmer you want. But these are both kind of mid-tone, so I wish that, I don't know, wish that there were one matte, a lighter matte that worked better with those two. But overall, beautiful palette, beautiful performance, and this lime green shimmer is one of the best in my collection from day one. Funnily enough, the other collaboration palette with Tina from the Fancy Face is next. This is the Tropicolor palette with Sydney Grace. Again, with the Sydney Grace formula, outstanding. It's amazing. This palette is so much fun. It's really, really great. I love the shimmer, the colors, and also the formula. They're really creamy, they're really soft, and very, very pigmented. You get beautiful looks from this. Very clean, very refined. And each time I use this palette, I tend to do like a warmer crease and then more cool toned or vibrant shimmers. So that's kind of fun. You know, that's just what I tend to do. Every time I use the Sydney Grace formula, I go, ooh, that's nice. You know, it's a different overall feeling than what I have on my eyes today with the, you know, the Oden's Eye shimmers. It's a different final result, but it's still very, very good. This coconut shade is fantastic. This is the best bone matte-ish. It's got a little bit of sparkle that I have in my whole collection. This beats out almost every matte white that I have in my collection. It's amazing. Like, you put on a little bit and you might actually get so much that you have to start dusting it away because it's so pigmented. Oden's Eye is finishing strong. Here is the Hela palette when they collaborated for the first time with Aniela Knyqvist. This palette's fantastic. I love how it just glows. Like, you open it up and these tones up here and then these down here, they just pop out and say, hello, look at me, pay attention to me. So beautiful. I do really enjoy, just like the Sydney Grace, but in a different kind of saturation or undertones, the pink and green color story. And there's purple too. We've got lightness, we've got depth, we've got shimmers, we've got mattes, we've got inner corner highlights. This one's amazing. I'll dip into this one often. This is Rebirth. This is double-sided. I used this actually for today's look as well. You'll find the double-sided shade on my inner corner and as a brow bone and face highlighter. This is all the double-sided shade. This palette's beautiful. It's one of my favorites from Oden's Eye, and it's definitely, obviously one of my favorite collab palettes. And finally, in the #1 spot, there is no getting around it. This is my, it's one of my favorite palettes in my entire collection, and it does have a hint of neutral to it. This is the Oden's Eye and Lauren May Beauty Sea Talk palette. Let's look at this beauty. This is an amazing palette. Again, it's got my favorite formula. It's got my favorite packaging. I love just the outer packaging is really, really beautiful. And I do prefer this outer packaging of the others as well. Between this, Planet Spirit, and Flora Story, this one's my favorite. The color story of this is just dreamy. Cool tone neutrals, warm tone neutrals, cool bluey, greeny. This is sort of an almost periwinkle shimmer. These are beautiful and interesting colors. You'd never, ever expect these to be in like a blue-brown palette, but they work, and they work beautifully. This Electric Kelp shade is not a simple yellow matte. It's actually yellow with some sparkles, but it leans very green, but it's not green either. It's a weird shade and I love it. Iridescent Shell is what I used at the time I'm filming this. I used Iridescent Shell yesterday and my eyeshadow look was stunning. It was stunning. It was part of my little theme videos that this eyeshadow look is also part of. Anyway, sorry, check it out on my channel if you're curious, but this was absolutely breathtaking. And I love this palette. This palette for me is just, it's got lightness, it's got depth, it's got shimmers, it's got mattes. Do you sense a trend? There's a theme happening here. I want a well-rounded, well-balanced palette, and this gives that to me. I could use either of these brown and then deepen over here. I can go neutral, I can go colorful, I can go really interestingly colorful, I can go highly sparkly, I could just keep it all matte if I wanted to. There are even neutral shimmers. It's everything. If I could only keep one palette in my whole collection, this one would be like a very hot contender. I don't know which one. If I could only keep one palette, I'm pretty confident it would be Oden's Eye, but I don't know which Oden's Eye. Oh, I don't know. I don't know, but I love the Sea Talk palette from Oden's Eye. Well, predictably, I forgot something. I have two palettes from Sydney Grace and Temptalia. They did a trio together. I own two of them. I own On Horizon and Quintessence. Yeah, I forgot to include them today, so I do apologize that they're not in this ranking. I do like both of them, and I like the Sydney Grace formula, so they probably would have been pretty high. Off the top of my head, I think that both of them need lighter mattes, but they're good, and yeah, sorry about that. And that's it. There you have it, my friends. I hope you have enjoyed this video. I would love to hear your comments, of course. Tell me in the comment section what you think. What are some of your very favorite collaboration palettes? Do you have any of these? Do you like them? Do you not like them? Would you have changed your ranking? Would you have put Michaela at the top or something? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thank you so much for being here today. Thank you for your time, for clicking on my video, for giving me a little piece of your day. I hope you'll consider subscribing if you want to before you go, and I can't wait to see you in my next video. Bye.